Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mortuary. I am the Mortician. And today we'll be talking about thrash metal for beginners. I just want to preface this and say, I'm not a huge fan of thrash metal. In fact, it's one of my least favorite genres. But I do like some thrash. And regardless, you're going to walk away with some new bands to listen to, I promise you that. So, without further ado, let's get started with the Gradient. The first band I think you should try, if you've never listened to thrash before, is actually Razor's Evil Invaders. Specifically because Razor, in this album especially, is not exactly thrash metal. They're not thrash through and through. They're speed thrash. And if you're unaware what speed metal is, basically just take something like Judas Priest or Merciful Fate and just inject lots of, well, speed into it. It's a much faster, much more aggressive version of heavy metal while still having the heavy metal leanings and still having that identity. So you're basically just taking that speed metal idea and just infusing it with thrash, which is even faster heavy metal essentially, at least on this level here. So you're basically looking at fast heavy metal. The second one is Slayer's Show No Mercy. This is my favorite Slayer record, but I'm going to try and keep it short. I could probably talk for hours about it. This is really aggressive. From Razor to Slayer is a huge leap. They took a lot of inspiration from Venom to make this album, and it's very obvious from the lyrical themes to even the riffs they use. But it's an absolute must listen to, and it's definitely more aggressive than Razor. Next we have Watchtower's Control and Resistance. This isn't necessarily more aggressive than Slayer. It's more weird. It is one of those albums that you will not appreciate your first listen. You will need to listen to it at least twice to really understand and properly appreciate this record. But once you do, it'll become one of your favorites, I think. I love this album. It's fucking wacky as hell. There's all kinds of weird time signatures, weird drum beats, cool solos. It's just all over the map, and it's absolutely fantastic and really on to listen to it. Next, I call this section Essentials, just because I feel like I should section this off like that. And to start this off, I chose Oblivion's From This Day Forward. Once again, an album you might not love the first time you listen to it, but if you listen to it again, I'm sure you'll fall in love with it. It took a couple tries for me to really fall in love with it, but now it's part of my thrash necessities. If I'm going to listen to thrash, that's one of the albums I always reach for. Then we have Dark Angel, Darkness Descends, and this is thrash. And in my opinion, probably the best thrash album there is. It was actually my first vinyl, so it also has a lot of sentimental value. So, but how do I describe it? It's amazing. That's really all I can say. And it's got Gene Hoglan on drums. This was the first thing he did before he was with Death and really became, I don't want to say notorious. That makes him sound like a Wild West villain or something. But before it became really famous, he was on this record, and he fucking creams it. Don Dottie's vocals on this are also probably my favorite, because he has a raspy, like almost yelling, almost screaming kind of thing, almost talking. It's very weird, but he has this crazy-ass falsetto that he does all over this record that is just absolutely amazing. This is one of those that I think you have to like. Like, I know what I said, but I think you have to like this. Like, this album is, like, near fucking perfection in terms of thrash, my opinion. The next one is Coroner's Punishment for Decadence, which is actually on this wall, but it's a little high up there, so you can't see it. But this is tech thrash. So Oblivion and Watchtower I would kind of describe as maybe techie prog thrash. This is just technical thrash. And it's really cool. These guys were roadies for Celtic Frost, if I remember correctly. And honestly, I don't know. I think I like Coroner a little bit more. That might get me crucified, but Coroner is actually one of my favorite bands. And this album and R.I.P. which I should have put in the honorable mentions if we get into later. But it's really fucking good. Sick licks, awesome solos, and I really like the politically minded lyricism found in this album, because it doesn't sound too preachy. They somehow found a way to make, like, the song Masked Jackal's about lying politicians, but they make it so it's not so shoved down your throaty, if that makes sense. It's written in a way that everyone can relate. Next is Morbid Saints, Spectrum of Death. This is death thrash. This is primitive, knuckle-dragging death thrash. This album is fast. This album is one of the fastest albums probably on here. And it's probably, honestly, the most aggressive in my opinion. This album will absolutely rip your face off, and I can't respect anyone who doesn't like this album. That's just me, but this is one of my favorite albums of all time we're talking about. It actually inspired me to make my own death thrash stuff. Absolutely incredible, ripping guitar solos. There's a lot of tremolo picking, actually, on this record in certain songs. And they have pretty long songs for being a thrash metal band. Like, I think Assassin, for example, is like 7 minutes long, but it doesn't feel like 7 minutes because it's just like so high octane and incredible. It just, you know what I mean? It's so fucking good. Moving on, though, to Demolition Hammer, Tortured Existence. This could be considered death thrash. I'm going to consider it death thrash. Really fucking good. This is, how do I describe Demolition Hammer to someone who just never listened to it? Demolition Hammer has not so much fast riffs. They are fast, don't get me wrong, but their riffs are crushing and very bouncy. Like, if you listen to 44 Caliber Brain Surgery, there's a lot of really quick parts, but there's a lot of bouncy sections in it. Absolutely amazing, and the vocals are really, really good too. I love the vocalists. I love the vocal delivery on this album. And lastly, for Essentials, it's actually a black thrash album, just because I felt like I had to have a black thrash album. That's Nephilhine's Servants of Darkness. It's really hard to describe this if you've never really listened to, say, for example, if you're watching this video, you're probably not that familiar with black metal in general, and you're really not familiar with this genre, so it's really hard to describe it to you. So it's one of those things that you have to listen to fully comprehend, in my opinion. Also, cough cough, you can check, I don't know which side of the screen it is, my black metal for beginners if you aren't that familiar with black metal. But essentially, it's like, you know, I'm just gonna say it. It's basically Venom, but faster, more aggressive, and has that second wave fucking edge to it. Absolutely killer shit. Totally check it out. And now we have honorable mentions. So I'm just gonna pick this up. You know, you've seen me look at it all video. I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna flash the album covers here. So for honorable mentions, we have Sadist, Swallowed in Black. Incredible shit. Nuclear Assault, Game Over. Also an amazing album. Of course, Forbidden Evil, Artillery by Inheritance, Sepultura's Schizophrenia, Slaughter's Strapadu, and Slayer Hell Awaits. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Mortician, peace out.